candidates that came up before, and anyone that came to support them. Keeping with time, just remember the time when those rules were given, the mic will cut off. We want to get everybody after this.
The presidency may have a little bit more leeway, and that'll be under discussion of the President Department.
I'm normally on this stage giving answers on Sunday mornings. But anyway, we're ready to post our council president candidates. We're so grateful for the young men. I was joking with them earlier when we got up on the stage. I said, we're not going to have to do any fanning because all three of us are ice cold. That's awesome. That's awesome. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. The questions that we will ask tonight are questions that came from mayoral candidates this election cycle. So those are the questions that we had that will come from them. And in the interim of answering, if there's something that I feel we need to dig a little deep in, we have that opportunity to do so. Okay, our first question tonight was submitted by Johnny Skip Moss, who's currently president of Selma City School Board. He's a candidate for mayor. And question is, the next mayor and city council president must work closely to lead Selma forward. What is your approach to building a strong collaborative relationship with the mayor, especially during times of disagreement? And first question will go to our current city council president.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Billy Young, and I currently have the honor of serving as Selma City Council President. And it is indeed an honor to serve the people of Selma, because I am Selma, Alabama. And so the question that's posed is about conflict involving the executive branch, which is the mayor, and the council, which serves as the legislative branch. Those of us that have studied government, and I've spent basically my entire life studying government, understand that there are checks and there are balances in dealing with government. And I also understand, as human beings, whenever you have two, you have the possibility of disagreement. So I understand that due to the nature of government and also due to the natural nature of human beings, there will be conflict. But just as I have done over 90% of the time with this current mayor, whoever the people elect, and if they so fit to see me go back up there, I will always give the mayor deference because the people put him there. I know that I have a responsibility to work with everybody, but I also have a responsibility to think for myself and to do what's right and in the best interest of Selma, Alabama. So when conflict arises, first and foremost, as a person of faith, ask God for help. And then second, put Selma first in whatever discussion and whatever disagreement. Always remember that Selma must be put first. And I believe if you put God, and if you make sure Selma's at the top of the list, then whatever that disagreement it will come out for the benefit of all of us.
Good evening. I am Kennard Randolph, a candidate for Selma City Council President. I am a lifelong resident of Selma, and I love Selma. I moved back to Selma because I love Selma. I was one of those young people that said I'll never move back. But one thing I believe in is divine intervention. And the only reason I'm back is because God laid his hand on me and said, you move back. And he said, you move back, you don't have to make your name great, I make it great. And so just trust God in whatever you do. But at the end of the day, with this question, as council president, my leadership will be rooted in mutual respect. It will be rooted in working across the aisle with the mayor. Just because we don't agree doesn't mean we have to not get along. Just because we disagree doesn't mean we can't meet and discuss what's necessary for the city. There's a common goal that we have, and that's the residents of this city. We have to put ego to the side. We have to put our own selfish ways to the side, and we have to become selfless. We have to serve the people with a unique heart, a heart that's willing to listen, even when I don't agree. Listen, even though I disagree, I agree that there's a common goal, that there's a better Selma if we work together.
From your perspective, Mr. Randolph, from your perspective, what do you believe is the role of the city council president?
Well, I think the role of the city council president is, one, to keep order, to ensure that in our meetings that we are conducting ourselves accordingly. And I believe that accountability and transparency are not opposites. I believe that they are uniquely joined together. And we have to make sure that if I'm elected as council president, that I'll be willing to work with every council member to ensure transparency and to ensure accountability, that we may work together not only with each other, but with the mayor, and work with the mayor to work with each department to help make policies that grow the city.
Code of Alabama, 1975, Title 11 provides that cities with populations of 12,000 or more have council presidents. The only expressed duty of the council president that's established in that code section is that in case the mayor is no longer able to serve in the capacity of mayor by statute, the council president automatically becomes council president. That's Alabama state law. Then the local ordinances, which we have here in the city of Selma, they adopted that a council president is responsible for calling meetings and presiding over meetings. There's also a local ordinance which provides that council presidents, in the case or the absence, if the mayor fails, refuses, or is unavailable to sign a resolution or ordinance in 10 days, the council president is responsible for signing that document. In addition to that, council presidents have to know Robert's Rules of Order. They have to be able to conduct and preside over all meetings. Council presidents are also responsible for selecting committee chairmen for each one of the established and standing committees of the council. Selma, Alabama, I know my duties, I know my responsibility, I know my job. Vote for Billy Young. Let's rise together.
Economically, across the country, there's much discussion, even at the federal level, budget issues. There are discussions even at the state level over budget issues, things of that nature. But how will you, as council president, work to restore financial trust between the legislative and the executive branches and ensure transparency while at the same time maintaining a balanced budget that protects city services? How will your What is your role in that process? What will it be?
My role, not only as council president, but as a member of the Selma City Council, like every other municipality in the state of Alabama, my role is the buck stops here. The council is responsible for municipal finance. We have to make sure budgets are balanced. We have to make sure bills are getting paid. So in my role, not just as council president, but as a member of the council as a whole, it's my job to look over budgets. It's my job to look over the reports. It's my job to make sure that we are not taking in, when we're not spending more than we're taking in. And I use my knowledge and expertise in the law as a tax attorney for the great state of Alabama, and also my knowledge in finance as a tax attorney to make sure that we follow the law and that we comply with all federal, state, and local ordinances. So I've got to make sure that this money that we're coming in, that we're not writing checks that we cannot cash. That, and to restore any situation or any issue, is to be upfront and be honest. If a mayor comes to me and wants to spend something, and I know we don't have the money to spend it, I would be wrong to agree to it. Now, I can be helpful and say, let's see what we can do to find a way to pay for this expense. But I have to be honest. First, I have to be honest with my Heavenly Father. And secondly, I have to be honest with the people of Selma. And something that Billy Young will do, he may not always tell you what you want to hear, but he's going to tell you the absolute truth. Can I speak there?
Can you repeat the question?
The question again about dealing with the finances and how will you work with the legislative and executive branches to ensure transparency and that we maintain a balanced budget that protects essential city services.
Great. Yeah, Billy, he's my frat brother. He loves to talk because he's an attorney, so we all know that, Billy. I do too. But just to put some humor in the room, because people think that me and Billy are whatever. But love you, Billy. But at the end of the day, as council president, one of the things, if I'm elected, if people choose me over Billy, I think it's important that the council is responsible for making sure that we are fiscally responsible when it comes to the budget and how money is spent. But in order to make sure that resources are given to the city employees, to the streets, we have to have clear communication and understanding with the mayor. We have to have that honest dialogue. We have to have those tough conversations where we may not meet on everything that the administration wants, but we at least have the discussion. And we have to be willing to have those discussions so we can understand what are the needs of the city. What are the needs of each department? If I'm not communicating with the mayor, I can't fully understand what the employees of the city need. So we have to have that open line of communication. And we have to be sure that open dialogue is not unexpected, but it's expected. And it's not feared. We have to have leadership in this council seat that's willing to open with wide arms, open conversation and dialogue that is anticipated and expected, not feared. And so when it comes to a balanced budget, we have to make sure, once again, that we're fiscally responsible. And in my current capacity, I am responsible for having a balanced budget every year. At the end of the day, I ensure that I meet with every department to understand their needs. I make sure that I meet with residents to see what are the issues that we're dealing with so we can help correct those issues in the balanced budget. It doesn't make sense to have a balanced budget that doesn't.
I do
assuming the rules provide that we can rebut.
You can't rebut it, you have an option to rebut it.
Let me say that, Brother Kennard, I love you too, brother. Men don't say they love each other enough. So I love you, my brother. And I respect you in addition to that. When you're talking about meeting, you're talking about meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons Selma is in the negative space that it's in is because there have been entirely too many backroom meetings. I appreciate that we live in a time now that our meetings are on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want, because you get to see what's really going on. See what has happened over the last 40, 50, whatever many odd years. You got people with their own little agenda. And they go into their little room and they decide what they want to do. And then they come back out and they give y'all a show. And then the people really don't benefit from it. But I believe the people, especially people in South Alabama, y'all want to see the sausage making. And sometimes it ain't pretty. But you see honesty. You don't see a backroom deal. Because the more you talk behind the scenes, the more likely you're to enter into some type of deal that's not going to benefit the whole. It is my responsibility to be open, to be transparent, and to let you know what's really going on.
Well, in talking about backroom meetings, I don't think that is considered a backroom meeting when you're discussing city business with the mayor to help it grow. I think it's transparency and honesty that you have those discussions and conversations, and you have them in a way where you not only talk about things with the mayor, but you come out and open and you talk about them as well. And so you can't get in a council meeting that's the first time that the mayor and the council president have talked. It's not about backroom meetings, it's about transparency, it's about honesty, it's about growing the city and having a space where two people who are in leadership can have honest dialogue, that we can talk about the necessary things that the city needs to help it grow. I differ. I don't think it's called a backroom meeting. I think it's called a healthy conversation meeting. I think it's called a healthy lifestyle of city leadership who can talk together and who can help the city grow in a way that it hasn't been in a long time.
I'm gonna put this all down for a second. As a pastor in this community, I have some serious concerns. One of the concerns that we have is dealing with economic development. And I'm just going to be honest. I've heard recently some things in the air that there are some folks that in the community that are upset because we're building a tire store in front of the mall. Well, what I tell them, I say, well, that's economic development. You miss the point. So when we have these conversations, we always talk about the old self. If you're elected city council president, what initiatives are you going to bring to the table to advance this community economically? Mr. Randolph, you first.
Well, sure, I'm going to continue the work that I'm already doing. I'm going to continue the work of redeveloping neighborhoods. We are building 56 9% tax credit units. Lincoln Lodge is 2. If you ride by there, you see that we're building 56 tax credit units on Citizen Parkway. And this will help transition residents from GWC to these developments so we can demo that place, rebuild it, and revitalize that community. Not only that, we have, over the past 6 years, we have brought over $10 million in grants to the Selma Island Authority, Jobs Plus grants, family self-sufficiency grants. We work with our residents to ensure that they don't feel left out. And in addition to that, the city mayor's office partnered with the Selma Housing Authority to buy 103 parcels. And the reason that happened is because the mayor and the council, I'm not going to say couldn't agree, but they needed some more research to understand the land bank. And so what the housing authority said, we don't have time to wait. We have issues, we have housing issues that we need to resolve. And so we bought 103 parcels from the state to help the city, because that's what we do. Leadership, we lead together, we're change agents. And we're not afraid to work in situations that people may look at as a negative thing. And so you see Washington Street, that happened because of one CEO of a company was willing to work with the mayor in the midst of turmoil to get the job done. So those are just a few examples. So I'm already getting the work done.
Economic development. Well, Pastor Crum, you kind of answered some of my questions, because you mentioned about that tire store that's currently being built on Howard Avenue. I was on the council, and I was the first vote to approve the creation of that tire store out there on Howard Avenue. Because I understand that over the last 20 years, Selma, Alabama has lost a substantial portion of our revenue. No one's talking about when Winn-Dixie on Howard Avenue closed, how the city of Selma lost $500,000 a year. Nobody's talking about when Ziegler closed that we lost a tax-paying citizen for Selma. So under my leadership, the Selma City Council has been very business friendly. You see, economic development is mainly something that you have different entities like the Chamber of Commerce. The council comes in by offering tax incentives. See, I was on the council when we voted to approve tax abatements for our businesses so they would locate here. I made that vote. I have called special call meetings within one day to make sure businesses that are applying for different licenses they need within one day. I have promoted a business-friendly climate. But I also understand, as council president, I have a lane. And you do best when you stay in your lane and you drive the speed limit. I don't go in with everybody else's business. Because when you do that, you mess up. You have accidents. But what I can do, what the law allows me to do, call meetings, be business friendly, vote on those incentives. I can't think of incentives that I have not voted for businesses. But I understand businesses need people.
I guess y'all want me to talk. Well, Mr. Young, I'm glad you were on the council when you voted for a tire store at the mall. We don't need more tire stores. We have enough of those. We need retail stores. We need hotels. We need restaurants. Let's think outside the box and stop doing what's already here. We need to make this community better and reach out to retail stores that we need to sell. We don't need to go to Montgomery and Prattville and Birmingham to shop. We need to shop right here in Selma, Alabama. So thank you for the tire store. But I want to see retail stores. I want to see restaurants. I want to see hotels. I want to see a better Selma.
That all sounded really good. But those tire stores coming is going to employ some people here in South Alabama that are paying taxes to support our roads, to support our schools, to support our children. So I'm saying this, Selma is open for business, not just for a tire store, but for any store. So, yeah, that's cliche, it sounds great. But when you are there doing the work, I don't just talk about it, I talk about it.
Morning, brother.
I'm glad we're on this subject. I'm glad we're on this subject. I grew up here, across the river, and as a little boy, I don't ever remember going to Montgomery for anything. I don't ever remember going to Prattville for anything. Are you going to, what are you going to propose to open Selma up economically, not just for one community, but the whole community? What do you propose to bring to the table?
Well, one of the things we must do is make sure we look at the policies that we have in place. Are there policies that invite businesses to the city with incentives? Let's look at that first. Are there policies, because the council, we are a policy-making body. And so are there policies that attract industry to come to the city? In addition to that, we have to look at our neighborhoods across the board. Because if you notice, most of your retail places are in Ward 1. You're in a certain part of town. We have to look at this not only as a color issue, but this is a Selma issue. And I think Selma is still stuck in color. Yeah. We have to get out of looking at color and start looking at people. And if we start looking at people, it'll be easy to develop in Ward 6. It'll be easy to develop in Ward 7. It'll be easy to develop in Ward 8 if we see people and not color. And so in working with my colleagues, if I am elected council president, I will ensure that we work with the Chamber of Commerce, that we work with the mayor, that we work with EEA, that we work with our member of Congress to do all that we can do and get in the rooms that is necessary to be in, to have the conversations, to get the resources to sell that we need.
I agree with brother. You need to see people. But you also need to see some green. Black and white, beautiful. Selma, Alabama needs to see some green. And let me tell you, while he was talking about what he wants to do, I have done it. When it comes to tax abatements, I had to do a research and find out what exactly the council would do when a business wanted to locate here. I had to research that law so that I could communicate to the rest of the council so that we would approve those tax abatements. One of the biggest industries that we bought here in the last 5 years is the Yellowhammer Omni Point deal, where we did broadband resources all over the city that's going to provide broadband internet for 53,000 households. And that is going to produce millions of dollars for the Black Belt economy. In order to get that passed, I had to work with the mayor because the mayor presented us with some ordinances and resolutions that were not lawful. So what did Billy Young have to do? Get on the phone with their lawyers and get on the phone with our lawyers and work out the appropriate ordinances and resolutions. We had to do 2 separate ordinances for a franchise agreement. You all can go to bed watching the news. I go to bed reading ordinances and resolutions, and I sleep good at night.
You know, I hear you say you talk about tax abatements. I still see dilapidated properties. I hear you talking about tax abatements. I still see retail stores closing. I hear you talk about tax abatement, but I don't see any people, any businesses that we desire to come and sell that are coming. So let's talk. So let's continue to talk about tax abatements. Let's do that. That's a good thing to talk about, Mr. Young. But while we're talking about tax abatements, let's also talk about cleaning up neighborhoods. Let's also talk about infrastructure. Let's also talk about things that can improve our communities that will invite industries to come and sell. A safer community, better education system. All of these things are pivotal and essential to ensuring that we can recruit industry. Because industry doesn't want to come when your streets are not safe. Industries don't want to come when your education system is not good. So we have to work with our education system, work with our police chief, our sheriff department, FBI, every agency that we can to clean this city up. And when we can do that, we can recruit industry here and give them that tax abatement.
Our time is in the way we want to be respectful of your time tonight. I want to bring into this conversation because let's face reality. I think if I'm not mistaken, all of us on this stage is at 50 or close to it or above.
I'm not close to 50. Fred, I ain't calling you Pastor, I'm gonna call you Fred. You got, I'm 40. I got 10 years before I get. Y'all old,
I'm 50. It just turned 50. Praise the Lord.
Well, I'm 57.
that was good for the soul.
It's good. But anyway, I want to bring you into this conversation. The most important segment of our community that gets left out. That's our children.
Yes.
Our children.
Talk about it.
And I know we often talk about what happened back in the day. You know, we played baseball. We started baseball. Recreation team started baseball in April. We were playing baseball before we got out of school. And we played the whole summer. And we were playing when school started back. Now, we start before school gets out. And when school gets out, baseball season is over. Chains are on the fences, things of this nature. What are we going to do? What initiatives are you going to bring to the table to improve? Because when I go to a city, the first thing I want to know, I want to ride around and see is what you're doing for young people and what you're doing for your senior citizens. What initiatives are you going to bring to the council to improve the quality of life and place some emphasis on it?
Before becoming an attorney, I taught school. I taught in the Selma City school system. In fact, I remember Brother Kennard, when he was a student, 7th and 8th grade, over at Selma Middle School. Very talented young man. I know how it's important to have a quality education system. I also know how important it is to provide an extracurricular life for our students when they're not in school. It's not what I'm going to do, it's what I have done. As council president, I instituted the council president shadow program, where we brought those kids that are not just athletically inclined, some were, brought them into City Hall and taught them government, taught them Robert's Rules of Order, taught them procedures, and they absolutely loved it. I also instituted the City of Selma Student of the Month, where we pick one student every month from any school, whether public, private, or homeschool, to come down to City Hall to be acknowledged for their efforts and their accomplishments. In addition to that, I have worked out, along with other council members, the occupancy fee deal, where we have taken some of that money and partnered $242,000 with the YMCA to provide after-school programs for our kids and summer programs. I have partnered with the Edmondites to provide after-school programs. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not making it up. You can come to a council meeting or you can read about it. I am doing the work, and I ask that you let me keep on doing the work. Let's rise together.
Before I get into mine, I want to go ahead and talk about what he's talking. Mr. Young, you had 5 years. You had an extra year this time. Yeah. So it's typically 4, but you got 1 more. And so I hear you talk about what you developed and things of that nature, because you're a program man. You know, you're an alpha man, you're clever, you're smart, you know, have a lot of charm, charisma. Because that's what alpha men are. But at the end of the day, let's look at our recreation department.
Come on.
Let's look at its budget. the budget that you as council president passed does not have enough money to fund our program, does not have enough money to do the work of the recreation department. You're talking about what you've done. Let's talk about what you could have done. We could have provided more resources. And if the money is not in the budget, let's work with the mayor to find grant funds. Let's work to partner with our colleagues of every ward to ensure that not only are we just doing things in the council chamber, but we're doing things in Ward 1. We're doing things in Ward 2. We're doing things in Ward 3. We're doing things in Ward 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 as a collective body to touch not only one child, but every child that we can across the city.
Brother Kennard, I appreciate the compliments. Thank you for that. You know, you two have your record in your own repeat. Because I've heard you brag about how you work with the mayor. I work with the mayor. I work with the mayor too. Over 90% of the things he's requested, I've approved and agreed with him on. But, Brother Kennard, you don't work with the mayor, you work for the mayor. Let's just be real about this whole thing. You know, as council president, the people are my boss, not the mayor. And frankly, the mayor is your boss. But the questions lie about young people. I have committed my life to help the young people. I'm in the grocery store and people come up to me and say, remember such and such, you helped them get a scholarship. Now they're working on their doctorate. Remember such and such, she's going to nursing school. That's outside of the role of council president or being an attorney. That's being a child of God, saying, look, it's my responsibility to help the least of these. I love helping people because somebody helped me at one time. And it's my responsibility to help others. So, Brother Kennard, while I know you do want a healthy relationship, let's be honest and frank about the relationship with you and the mayor.
Well, you know, to me that was very brave of you to say that. But let me tell you something. I'm a grown man. If I want to sit in this pulpit, I'll tell you what type of man I am. And at the end of the day, I work for 5 people. I have a 5-member board. And when speaking of the mayor, I was not talking about the current mayor. That's your issue, Mr. Young. You have an issue with the current mayor. You'd like to put the current mayor on the platform. I don't. I work with him. And in my comments, I was talking about working with any mayor, whether it's a man or a woman. I wasn't talking about the current mayor, because it is not about the current mayor that the council president has to work with. If this mayor is not elected, I must work with whoever the next mayor is to get the job done. And I'm appalled by your comment that I am a yes man to this current mayor. No, I am not a yes man, but I am a man that's willing to have an honest conversation and talk like you don't. Here was hard, and you did.
Looks like we're going to make a lot of progress. We're going places. Because this is important. This is important because, although I'm a resident of Valley Range, my church is in Selma. The school is in Selma. My family, I have family that are in Selma. And I want to see Selma, utilize all of its potential. We've got a blessed community. We are one of very few small cities, and here we are because I'm going somewhere with this. We're one of very few small cities that have the resources. We got a river that's running right through the middle of our city. We have Craig Field Air Force Base that has the 3rd longest landing strip in the country. What are you going to do as council president, to put forth initiatives to bring about much needed development in our community, utilizing what we already have. Because it's evident, it looks like somebody don't know what we have in our own backyard. What are you going to bring to the table today?
Sure. Prior to my current position, I was congressional staffer. And one of my primary responsibilities was to cover the Black Belt. And Selma was in my coverage area. And I am instrumental in making sure that the riverbank received the funding for the erosion project through the Corps of Engineers. I worked on that project tirelessly for years to ensure that that river was secure. And so we have to look at tourism, and we have to look at it from a lens of how do we step outside the box of what we have not done before. And you know, some people are against gambling. Pastor, you're probably against it. I don't know if you are not. But you know, one thing about you know what? One thing, Pastor, you know, I've been doing a little research, and there is a way to put a casino on the river if you just push it out just a little bit off the land. There's a way to do it. And so, Pastor, somebody may win at the river and come tired of your church.
We'll pray over it.
So we have to look at different ways that, and looking at the airport, Jim is doing a great job out there bringing in resources. So we have to continue to work with Jim. We have to continue to work with him. But one of the things that I want to see us build up our youth with aviation. I want to see a youth training program to teach these kids how to become pilots. You have the script out there, you have it, but what I see is we take them out there, we show them the plane, we give them an opportunity to ride in the plane, but we don't have continual education for our kids in Selma to learn how to fly the plane. And so we have to work with the resources that are already available, but because they're already there, we just can expand on those resources and expand those partnerships that already exist.
A very clear distinction has been placed right now between myself and Brother Kamar. I'm a man of law, ethics, and morals. Right now, in the state of Alabama, per the Alabama State Constitution, whether we like it or not, gambling is not legal in the state of Alabama. And anybody coming to you right now talking about it's some kind of plan in Alabama where you can put a casino in a river, they are feeding you.
We in church.
We're in church. But they are not malign. They're not feeding you the truth because in the state of Alabama, Selma almost just got in trouble, y'all. And with this current administration, and I can't speak to what I've done because you got to judge me by what I've done. And I've been working. Because when the state came in and found out we had illegal gambling machines, they want to do something about it. But the council, not just myself, and later the mayor, we came in and repealed that ordinance that was illegal, that allowed illegal gambling. I also have money too, but I want it done legally, ethically, and morally. So one of the things that I want to do is expound on our tourism industry. There's no reason why we should not have a civil rights complex downtown Selma, Alabama. Why can't we have an EJI just like Montgomery, Alabama? Or better. But we've got to work with what we've got. We've got to put souls apart. And I have worked with them and will continue to work with them to make tourism a primary goal for the city of Selma. And before I close, I would be remiss if I didn't say, if the mayor appoints your bosses, the mayor is your boss.
Brother John, you like to talk. I love it. I love it. You had 5 years to do it, and you haven't done it well. And so let's go back to the river. Because you said gambling is illegal. You have something called Wind Creek Indians. So it depends on where you put it, my brother. So you got to know where to place it in order for it to be legal. So let's make sure that when you're talking about that river, that you've studied that river to ensure that it's illegal to put it on the river. Because at the end of the day, I am not talking about anything that's unethical or anything that can't grow the city. We're going to walk in honor, we're going to walk in honesty and integrity. And so that river, any way that we can use it to profit from it as a city and to make this city better, we're going to do that with integrity and we're going to do it the legal way.
Very quickly, this won't take me one long, take me long at all. Legal, not legal.
And I will say, you had 5 years to run a city in a legal way of things that you knew about that you let still happen.
All right. Okay. I'm going to, at this time, I'm going to lock on board one question from the floor. And after that, we'll conclude our session this evening. And I will make one question from the floor for both candidates. I want a citizen. One question.
Deborah Howard. Deborah Howard. Stand up, please. Thank you.
One of the things that I've been concerned about with the city council, and I asked a question to Janie when she had her gathering. Why is it that the citizens send complaints to the council and the mayor, and we never hear back from them? Why is that?
Thank you. Council President.
I was there when Ms. Howard brought up that question. And it's been posed to us before about the follow-up on citizens' concerns. We're in the process right now of looking at some type of app, some type of technology that allows us to keep up with all of the complaints. Now let me say this, a lot of times the complaints that come before the Selma City Council are outside of the authority of what the council can do. See, if I sit up here and told you a tale and say, yeah, we can do that, we can't. We don't have the authority. Some of the things that come before the council fall under the day-to-day umbrella, under the executive branch. And we don't have the authority, staying in my mind. But for those things, like they come up about potholes or those types of things, we put in work orders. And we're trying to develop some type of system to better allow us to keep up. Selma's a very old city with many infrastructure problems. And also, we have a lot of other problems. So that is something that I will commit myself to improve. I guess that would be customer service. We could improve our customer service. I'm not perfect. Never tried to be, or try to say that I am. I'm attempting to do better. And when you know better, you do better.
Once again, I'll say, Mr. Young, you had 5 years to correct this issue. I think transparency and accountability is critical. We must ensure that the concerns are being heard. We have to filter these concerns to the right department so we can ensure that the concerns are being heard. One of the things we've done at the Housing Authority is we have put out suggestion boxes so that we can hear what the people are saying. We can hear the concerns of the residents so we can get down to the main concern and resolve those issues. We can't be afraid to have tough conversations. People write me on Facebook all the time. And guess what I do? I respond and I resolve the issue because that's what it's about. It's about responding timely and ensuring that the people have access and the response to get the work done.
Thank you. That was an audience question. But before we get the final remarks from our council president candidates, I want to, on behalf of the Dallas County chapter of the Alabama Democratic Conference, I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. Your presence here shows that you're interested in what is going on in our community. It further shows that you're concerned about our community, and we're grateful for you for taking the time to do that. I believe Council President had first open question, so we'll give you the closing statement, and then we'll close with candidate Randolph. Yes.
All right. Well, I'm 50 years old, and I'm proud to be 50 years old. I turned 50 in February. And sometimes you have to write down things to remember. 5 years is a long time. And I proudly run on my record of 5 years of public service along with the Selma City Council to the people of Selma. I have offered you moral, ethical, and lawful leadership. Some of the things that we were able to do, we were able to get a camera system. We need to get more cameras. We were able to keep our police force intact. We almost lost it. We were able to keep a fire department intact. We almost lost that as well. We were able to get, along with the mayor, 90%, 70 city blocks paved and resurfaced after we worked together with the mayor. Go down there and you'll see the George Evans building, the former George Evans building, which is now the George and Jeannie Evans Center. And you'll see a brand new parking lot right in front of it. That's 5 years of working together. All of those things and many, many more, including a beautiful track out at Selma High, at our Memorial Stadium. We did that under my leadership. And ladies and gentlemen, at one time somebody was trying to get us to give away the Memorial Stadium. And I stood up for Selma, Alabama, and said, how dare we do that? I stood up and said, we've got to keep Memorial Stadium because it's for all of the people of Selma, Alabama. Ladies and gentlemen, way too much has been done in 5 years for me to cover in a minute and a half. But I sit here proud and thankful of 5 years of hard work, blood, sweat, and sometimes tears for Selma, Alabama. And ladies and gentlemen, if you see fit, which I pray you do, to put me back, I'm going to work even harder the next 4 years. Let's rise together. Thank you. May God bless all of you, and may God continue to bless Selma, Alabama.
Citizens of Selma, do you want 5 more years of combative leadership? Do you want 5 more years of egotistic leadership? Do you want 5 more years of self-centered, selfish leadership? And so, Selma, what I'm asking of you is to give you a leader that will listen, a leader that will serve in honesty, a leader that will be here to do the work and yield real results, a leader who's able to not only work with people, but to work with someone in the audience is talking against you. I still love you too, Mom. And at the end of the day, I'm a leader who can work across the aisle with anybody. I'm a leader who loves people for who they are. I'm not going to always agree with citizens. I'm not going to always agree with my colleagues. But guess what? At the end of the day, we're going to agree to the common goal of making and having a better Selma. And so, Selma, I ask for your vote on August the 26th for leadership that will help move this city forward, but we can't do it alone. We have to do it together, and we're going to do it together every day, one step, one community, one block, one house, one street at a time, uniting our city and building our future.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for coming tonight, and I'm looking forward to either of your leadership on the council. I'm looking forward to working with you all in the capacity that we serve as pastor. But I'm also looking forward to, being in the position that we can buy a suit and stuff. And we can eat a steak. And we don't have to burn gas to go to Prattville or Montgomery. Y'all remember years ago we had that motto, Selma has it all? Remember that? We had a motto that said, Selma has it all. Can we go back and get it? Let's go back and get it. God bless you, Selma. Thank you all. Good night.
I got you. I got you.